Dear mothers and fathers, sons and brothers of the humankind. In the previous video, we closed a summary of the historical context of the origin and development of the Earth's human order at this point in our development. The historical mark where we trace of the human order of Earth post-Eastern and Western. The establishment of the State International of Earth as authority and entity of universal competence and strength. The historical record of the process of establishing the human order on Earth since our origins, I present them as the guide and witness, the Holy Spirit and epic record of eternal covenant of God, and I finish it showing the main and last prescription of the spirit of this alliance. A. The mandates of the Church. B. The humanistic mandate of the love for humankind. C. The prescription of a meeting of the divine and human forces dedicated to the judgment on the legitimations and integrations of divine and human laws for the final achievement and permanent provision of the human order of Earth post-Eastern and Western. It is the willingness of the Alliance for liberating the process of legitimation of common management of the planet with the UN and elevate the Earth as an human sovereign state of divine universe, the international state of the Earth. Historically, this judgment is meaning in our culture as the final judgment. We can use that term, but without the meaning of doomsday. It is the final judgment as a conference of the human strength and divine forces in the full sense. A. Establish the certification among them that God can recognize humanity as his people and the earth as a state of the universe in the principles, character and development as representation of the overall direction by the United Nations. And B. Ensure in the junction of its power that humanity can recognize the God in the organization, possession, salvation, safety, and the balance of the earth and its resources by all of us. Now, 2000 years after the issue of alliance of the consummation in the Third Millennium, year 2050 DC, we have obtained the emancipation required for this meeting or trial. We reached the stage of life and fellowship of humankind on the state of human international law for the construction of the international democratic state of the earth. It is precisely the stage aimed at joint and final representation of the managing government, a sustainable development of the earth by the power and human and divine force as a state, country of the universe. Especially because, in fact, we get the conditions for interplanetary relations, a point of emancipation to contact with other planets and other life conditions in the universe. In general terms, we have defined the organism of execution and actions of the whole of law, not about the UN. We have defined its performance regime, the democracy. In addition, we defined its global social direction, metaphysics, ethics and ecological, geopolitical, geoeconomic and military, related to the human and earthly security. In fact, the UN, with its specialized agencies and their training in 70 years of life, is the only, no twin or second choice, that has achieved the basic requirements required for the encounter through the the history of Earth's human occupation, namely: 1. The legitimation of the nations and peoples to the action mandate proposed by its charter, and 2. The power to meet the responsibilities of this mandate on a planetary scale, a process that has tested and confirmed the following vacation frame and ability of the organization since its inception in 1945. A. The ability to gather the nations of the earth for dialogue. B. The ability to promote the establishment of planning and responsibility between the nations and their forces, economic, military, and legal. The ability of bringing together and coordinating the implementation of treaties, declarations, conventions in an international state of law. And C. The operational capacity of its members, specialized agencies and partners to gather the direction and means of structuring of union and communication, constitutional, economic, technological, educational, and social of our peoples and nations needed for action. Now, the UN has the responsibility to officially request for a cultural global representation, the judgment or conference of legitimation and integration of the human forces by the divine forces on the social guidelines of the state of international law and its constitutive mission, the construction of state international of Earth. As a basis for the articulation of this conference or judgment today, we have against the all opposing forces two compatible positions of the state and faith. As 1. The UN directive presented and promoted by Secretary General Ban Ki-moon under document denominated of Post 2050 Sustainable Development Agenda that presents a set of guidelines of the organization to lead humanity to achieve dignity by 2030 and protect the planet. 2. The policy of the Vatican, registered by the Pontificate of John 23, Paul 60, John Paul II, and Benedict XVI, promoting in the meetings of Assisi and presented by Pope Francis in the conference titled Protect the Earth, Dignity, Humanity. In fact, since John 23, the Vatican is being qualified internally and jointly to other representations of the divine force for this purpose. The meeting of all divine forces to share the judgment and integration with the UN. See the encyclicals Pace in Terris, Ecclesians 1, Redemptor Hominis, Dominium Vivificantem, Laudato Si, and the Conciliar Declaration Nostra Aetate. A statement of Pope Paul VI is emblematic. But we do, nevertheless, recognize and respect the moral and spiritual values of the various non-Christian religions, and we desire to join with them in promoting and defending common ideals of religious liberty, human brotherhood, good culture, social welfare, and civil order. For our part, we are ready to enter into discussion on this common ideal, and we will not fail to take the initiative where our offer of discussion in genuine mutual respect would be well received. Based on this common direction, I will pass to expose in the next video some proposals for the organization of this process by the UN and the divine force. I believe that the proposal I have to be submitted shall useful for dialogue on this process. Thank you all for your invaluable attention.